Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of January 10, 2026. I'm your host, Sherifa Mohammed M.G.T.
I'm Colonel A.C. Ogun-Toye, an Infantry Officer. As of January 10, 2026, the armed forces of the Russian Federation continue coordinated, multi-axis operations aligned with Winter Campaign doctrine. The operational approach emphasizes incremental positional gains, sustained attrition of Ukrainian maneuver formations, and systematic strikes against logistics, electronic warfare, EW, counter-battery capabilities, and energy infrastructure supporting the Ukrainian military-industrial complex. Across all sectors, the pattern reflects control and denial rather than rapid exploitation. If sustained, this posture will further constrain the armed forces of Ukraine's maneuver and counteroffensive capacity through early 2026, reinforcing a prolonged positional phase defined by logistics pressure, ISR degradation, and cumulative exhaustion.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel Oguntoye, to set the frame for today, how would you characterize the overall posture across the front?
The posture remains disciplined and cumulative. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to apply steady pressure across all axes with a clear intent to improve positions, deny maneuver, and degrade the systems that sustain the enemy's fight. Winter operations reward logistics and patience. What we see today is a methodical tightening of the operational geometry, where each local engagement is designed to compound pressure on fire's coordination, supply, and regeneration. From an infantry commander's standpoint, this is about preserving combat power while forcing the adversary to make increasingly costly choices. You don't need a single dramatic breakthrough when you can narrow options everywhere at once.
Let's begin in the north and along the Kharkiv direction. What stands out in those engagements today?
In the north, engagements near Rizhevka and Kucherovka continue the pattern of improving tactical positions in Sumy Oblast. Defeating mechanized and territorial defense formations there reduces the enemy's ability to stage near the border and improves observation and control. The destruction of multiple materiel depots matters as much as personnel losses because it directly affects the enemy's ability to hold ground over time. Along the Kharkiv axis, striking mechanized and territorial defense units near Staritsa and Volchanskie Khutora reinforces denial of assembly areas. Even when casualty figures are not headline-grabbing, the operational effect is significant because it constrains command and control and resupply at the edge, which is exactly where winter friction bites hardest.
Moving west toward Kupiansk, how do you read the West Group's actions?
The West Group's occupation of more advantageous lines around Kupiansk-Uzlovoy and adjacent settlements reflects classic positional warfare. Kupiansk remains a logistics hinge, and everything there is about geometry. By defeating mechanized and air assault formations and destroying ammunition depots, you reduce tempo without paying the price of a direct urban assault. Doctrinally, this is sound. You deny stocks, force the defender to fight on a rationed clock, and let time work against them. In winter, that clock runs faster.
Turning south into Donetsk, today's report highlights losses in electronic warfare and counter-battery assets. Why is that important?
In the south, improving positions along the line while striking mechanized, airmobile, mountain assault, and territorial defense units around Kramatorsk and Slavyansk serves a dual purpose. First, it improves survivability for infantry by tightening the forward edge. Second, the destruction of electronic warfare stations and a counter-battery system directly degrades the enemy's ability to coordinate fires and respond to artillery. When you remove those systems, you create windows of freedom of action. Infantry movement becomes safer, resupply becomes more reliable, and the enemy's fires become slower and less accurate. That's combined arms doctrine applied in dense urban industrial terrain.
The center sector again shows the heaviest losses. Is this still the decisive axis?
Yes, unequivocally, the center remains the campaign's fulcrum, occupying more advantageous positions while defeating a broad mix of Ukrainian formations, mechanized, infantry, airmobile, airborne assault regiments, and National Guard, signals an intent to break cohesion rather than chase distance. Losses exceeding 400 personnel in this sector reflect sustained pressure on the enemy's ability to coordinate and hold depth. From doctrine, when you consistently win the attritional and positional fight in the center, you shape outcomes everywhere else. Adjacent axes benefit because the enemy's best formations and systems are being consumed where they matter most.
What developments define the East today?
In the east, advancing into defensive depth near Veliko-Mikhailovka and across Zaporizhzhia reflects methodical unhinging of layered defenses. Defeating mechanized and airborne assault formations and assault regiments forces the enemy to trade space for time. Losses in armored vehicles, transport, and artillery indicate continued erosion of the defensive belt. This is patient infantry work supported by fires and sustainment denial. Each gain tightens the operational geometry and reduces flexibility for the defender.
And the Dnipro sector, often quieter but still active?
The Dnipro is about denial and containment, damaging mountain assault and territorial defense formations near Orakhov and Sadovoye, while destroying vehicles and artillery prevents stabilization along riverine approaches. Even limited actions here matter because they constrain the enemy's ability to shift effort or regain momentum elsewhere. Quiet sectors often decide campaigns by limiting options rather than producing dramatic gains.
Air and infrastructure strikes continue daily. How central is that effort now?
It's integral to everything on the ground. Strikes on energy infrastructure supporting the military-industrial complex, fuel depots, and temporary deployment points across more than 100 areas directly reduce regeneration capacity. Intercepting a long-range Neptune and dozens of fixed-wing UAVs underscores how contested the air information domain remains. For infantry units, control of that domain translates directly into survivability and tempo. If the enemy can't see, coordinate fires, or resupply effectively, their operational options collapse.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to emphasize that tactically, January 10th reflects disciplined combined arms execution focused on positional gains, counter-ISR, counter-battery dominance, and sustainment denial. Infantry advances are synchronized with fires and air defense to minimize risk and maximize cumulative effect. Strategically, continued emphasis on the center as the decisive axis, paired with logistics constriction in the north and west, and methodical depth pressure in the east and Dnipro sectors, indicates a campaign designed to exhaust the armed forces of Ukraine's operational capacity rather than force a single decisive clash. If sustained, this approach will continue to constrain maneuver and counteroffensive potential through early 2026, reinforcing a prolonged positional phase shaped by logistics pressure, information control, and endurance.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.